Today in Caustic, I'm going to show you how to properly arpeggiate. Sounds like this.
Welcome to Caustic. Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
So even though this video is centered around the Arpeggiator, I'm going to be going over multiple different production techniques. We're going to go over automation, some mixing, sidechain compression, how to create a mix bus, and some stuff with the reverb and some sound design. So there's going to be quite a bit of stuff that you can learn, especially if you're just beginning or even intermediate. This can be highly beneficial. But if you don't like the sound or whatever, feel free to, just perhaps one of my other videos would be better suited for your needs. I got tons of stuff on Caustic, so check my channel and you'll probably find some stuff that would be more suited towards your needs. So if you like the sound on this and you're interested, let's go ahead and get started. And I'm actually going to start out by kind of briefly explaining what's going on. So I have a subsynth right here and a KS synth. These are being routed through a modular that's being arpeggiated, running through another filter that's has decay into the cutoff, and it's just going out on here. This is how we are going to create this arpeggiator. And all the other stuff is just really dialing in the sound, making it sound good and good enough for to start more properly mixing and whatever routes you want to take to be able to publish your song. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get started with the sound design aspect first, and then we're going to go into all the routing and mixing and different stuff like that. So let's go down here. I'm going to add a subsynth and a KS synth. Let's go to the subsynth first. Okay. Actually, you know what? Before we start, let's go down to our effects rack. Let's add a chorus to the subsynth and the KS synth. Let's go back to the subsynth and let's start sculpting the sound. You get some weird phasing issues when you have a chorus and just a sine wave on here. So let's turn this to a triangle, which is kind of like a nice warm round sound. So we're going to take the second one to a sawtooth. High quality, it means it just kind of cleans up the sound in the higher frequencies. I believe it does take up slightly more space in your project file using the high quality thing, but whatever. Might be something that you either want or don't want. We're going to take the polyphony and bring it all the way to 8 because some of these notes are going to be hanging on and there's going to be a lot playing, so we don't want any of the notes cutting off. With the mix, that basically fades the sound over, so if I take it to the left, nothing but the triangle. All the right, nothing but sawtooth. In the middle, it's both. So I want to take the mix and bring it slightly over to the right and watch what happens. Kind of thins the sound out and kind of makes it more buzzy, more crunchy, if you will. So this next little trick is what they call, I think, perfect fifth, and that's bringing up 7 semitones. There's 12 semitones within an octave. So watch what happens if I bring it up just like 1 or 2. Doesn't sound good. They don't match because this oscillator is playing at a perfect octave. Just because this one moves, this one stays the same. So if we bring this up an octave, this one stays down an octave. So notice how it doesn't sound good? But watch what happens if we bring it up 7 semitones. It sounds almost like a chord. It's the sound becomes bigger, taller, has more authority, and it gives it a feeling too. not quite happy, but kind of like you're in the lead. It gives it a pretty cool tone. Now you can also create the same thing by going up an octave and then down 5, because in a sense that is a perfect fifth, because 12 minus 7 12 minus 5 is 7. So you get the same sound. See, so either way you want to do it, that's fine. There's 100 cents in one semi. So if I was to take these cents and just bring it over like to the right slightly, all it does is detune this oscillator. But if I hit unison, it affects both oscillators. So if I bring this to the right, like let's say 10 cents, internally this thing's like, oh, oscillator 2 is set to unison and it went up 10. Let me eternally let me do it forever. Let me and it's like, oh, okay, it went up plus 10. I'm going to go minus 10 internally. Gives a nice little cool phasing. And kind of a rule of thumb, the more detuned you are, the faster it will phase. So if you want a slower phase, just barely notch it. You know, even one detuned 1 cent will cause phasing. So this is a pretty good start. So let's shape the actually amp envelope. Volume envelope is what it's called in this. Other synths might call it like an amp envelope. This only controls volume. It sculpts the volume. So if we take the sustain all the way down, all the sound will be gone. See, you're not really getting anything. So if we take the decay, nice little pluck. That's good, but let's add a little bit of release. Cool. Okay, let's go to the filter, put on low pass. Pretty kind of buzzy. So let's darken the sound, make it more round. So hear how it's good to use characteristics to describe the tools that you're using in audio. So just like if you're cooking, if you want something sweeter, you know, it's like, okay, well, I need some sugar. Like with in audio, be like, oh, this sounds too bright. Let me put a low pass filter on and it'll darken the sound. Hear how you can get that sense? More round. So let's darken the sound a tiny bit. That's fine. You can add a DAW effect by taking a decay envelope. This envelope is for the filter. Take the sustain down all the way. Bring the decay up. Now hear the sound. Isn't that cool? Tames it a lot. So what this is doing internally, even though this thing isn't moving, in reality it's going woo! Woo! Every time you hit the key. And if you did the keyboard tracking, I always kind of forget what the keyboard tracking is, but pretty much it follows the filter if you go up the keys. Even though that's probably not a very good explanation of it. That, in a sense, is what it does. If you have it all the way up, I believe that no matter where you go up in the filter or up in the key range, this will follow it. I don't even hear a difference. Let's just stick to what I know. Okay. Okay, so here's a good little tip for you. For the release, watch what happens if we take the release all the way down. And I just tap the key. you get that little floop, almost like something's getting sucked up, like floop. It starts off like bright, and then all of a sudden it goes doop. Now watch what happens when I take the release and match it with this. That sound goes away. It's a good rule of thumb to have, unless you're looking for something specific, is to have the release match the volume release. What I've learned is volume envelope is king. So, meaning that without volume, it doesn't matter what you're doing to the other stuff, man. This thing's gonna do, it's called masking. It masks the effects of other things that they would, like, so if this thing was used to design a certain aspect of your sound, this is going to mask it over because this thing controls the volume, and with no volume, you're not going to hear the other effects. So that's what they call masking. So it's good to also match decays too, but it's not by any means like you don't need to do it every time. But if something sounds a little funny, try matching the decays and the release times. With that, we are good. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Actually, no. I'm going to leave it up because I'm going to show you something. A little bit of problem solving. So let's move down to the KS synth. And this is going to be really quick. Pretty overbearing. This is a beautiful synth that gets overlooked a lot of times. You can really create some really cool sounds with this. We're going to use this more as like more of like an attack, like a transient, like this, like kind of like a metallic, metallic transient, man. That's what it is. A transient is like the very first part, like the attack of a sound. That's your very first part of the sound. And that's what we're going to do here. So if you take the decay, cleans the sound up quite a bit. We're also going to do what we did with the other one. So this is, there was a reason why I showed you how to make the perfect fifth with the other one, both ways, because a lot of times if you go to certain synths, you're only going to be able to go up 6 semitones, while the subsynth lets you go up 12. This one, and a lot of the other ones, only let you go up 6. So the way around that is to drop it down 5. Okay, even though it's, you can hear it better now. Let's bring the decay back down. Actually, let's bring the decay up. I'm going to show you the dampening. Once again, kind of rounds the sound, darkens it out. Notice how it's more mellow. This is going to be coming up in with when we play with the reverb. Beautiful sound, right? So let's turn the mix a little bit over there so we're getting more of oscillator 1. And turn the decay down. Remember that all we want is that little pluck. Watch what happens if we play something down here. Even more down. Oh, that reminds me. If we go back to the subsynth, we could do a little bit of FM. Adds a very, very slight difference to it, so this is almost optional, but it's good to play around with like FM stuff so you can actually kind of hear. And they kind of define FM as almost metallic. It gives it that kind of metallic sound. So it's good to kind of play around with some FM stuff, like play with the FM synth. FM synth down here. Or with the modular is a really easy one to do too. We're done with the sound design. Let's route this stuff through the modular. So the first thing we want to do is go under generators and go under machine input. We want 2 of these. Let's flip this around. Okay, 2 of these. Next, we want a mixer, 2-input mixer, because both of these sources need to get routed through our one output of here. We need an arpeggiator. That's going to be located under miscellaneous at the top. And then this is optional, go to oscilloscope, it's still under miscellaneous. And then down here, I'm going to add a filter, vintage ladder. Feel free to play around with different things. This is designed after, I think, like Moog had a ladder filter, and this is designed around that specific sound that the filter gives. But it's kind of hard to hear the differences in filters. So that's what I say, kind of play around. And then we want a decay envelope, so we can control the cutoff. Okay, so with the source here, you can select it here. So if you go right here, if you click on here, we can go until we hit our subsynth. So just because it says subsynth down here, it can change if you change the name of this. So if we go to the subsynth, we can name it like 1, 2, 3. Now watch what happens when we go back to it. It'll be called 1, 2, 3. This one, let's just go to our KS synth. There it is. So send notes to source. This is actually important to show you this thing that I stumbled across. It's actually pretty cool. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But for now, just hit send notes to source. So we're going to take the mono, bring it into one, and this one into this. We're going to take this out, bring it into our filter. Now it's important that you use the same out. So if you go in the top in, you need to go out at the top out. If you take it into this, it needs to go out of here. So let's just route both of these so it's in stereo, not in mono, because we want that wider sound. We're going to take the decay and bring it into the cut. We're going to take this out and bring it into the oscilloscope. So we're going to get to the oscilloscope in a little bit. We're going to get to the send notes to source in a little bit. But now let's just get the sound going. I think if I hit a button, it should work. Right off the bat, it's too fast. We want that. Let's just play right here. Watch what happens now. Super fast. So if we bring it down, sounds like garbage, huh? We're gonna fix it, okay? And it's a very simple fix. So right now we're gonna take the octaves and we're gonna bring it up. This gives it the range. So if you go down to my note, to my MIDI, what I put, just because it's in one octave, if we just had, that's why it was only going in one octave, it wasn't going up. So if you take one octave,
Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael.
this is going to go into 2. Then here's 3. This is going to give us the shape on which it arpeggiates. So if we if we go down here, it's going to be how fast the rate, or no, how fast the tempo is going, and the rate controls how many notes are going to be played, how fast the notes are going to be played. So if you go up, playing a million things at once. The lower you go,
Thank you, Michael.
see how it's just plucking at a slow rate. We want to go to right here. Now we want to control the, see how it's a triangle? You can hear it kind of go. It's going to go do 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 do, and like go up and then down. Okay, still sounds like garbage, so let's fix this. The first thing we need to do is go into our mixer. It's really important that we turn these down. Okay? We don't want any volume coming out of our synths because it's being routed through the modular. Okay? So turn these down, and then all of our sounds are going to be going through the modular.
Thank you, Michael.
So the next thing that's going on is we have this decay going into the cutoff of here. Watch what happens when we open this up. Opens up the sound and it's not making it so plucky. So we can make the sound darker by taking the cutoff, bringing it down slightly, bringing a little bit of res up. Res adds a small band of frequencies right where the cutoff slope is. Right there. That's all that does, so let's listen.
Thank you, Michael.
It's cleaning it up quite a bit, but still not great. The next thing we want to do is add a reverb. So go down to our modular, take the reverb. I'm going to bring it to right here. That was weird. Okay, to about right here. Now listen. Still doesn't sound good. That's because these two synths are too loud. So even though there's no volume coming out of here, we can still control the volume that it's getting routed into the modular. So if you go down here, watch what happens when we adjust the volumes.
Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael.
Now we can take the modular and turn it up. We can actually go into here, turn it up a bit.
Thank you, Michael.
Cleaned it up quite a bit, so let's do a little bit of the equalizer. I'm just going to hit play and start playing around.
Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael.
Cleaned up way more just by simply messing with the input volumes of this. So what I was doing here, if you didn't know, this is basically the volume. The same thing would be happening if I went into the actual synth and turned the volume up or down. This is pretty much doing it, but it's an easier way to do this. If we go down to our reverb, this controls the mixer's reverb. So when I turned up the reverb right here, this controls it. So basically what I did from its stock settings was I turned the room size down, I turned the high frequency up. This gives it, if I were to bring the room size up, that's like just increasing it. Like say if you brought it up, you'd be like being in a stadium. If you brought it down, it'd be like you might be in like a small hallway. That kind of gives it the size of the reverb. The high frequency dampening really brings down the that kind of metallic hiss that you get. Listen.
Thank you, Michael.
Doesn't sound good. So bring it back down, bring the high frequency up. I don't know what the diffuse does. I would start kind of playing around. There's a tutorial on YouTube from the guy that made this thing on that explains all the stuff in the reverb. But for the most part, the only thing else I really did was turn the wetness down and the stereo spread. That gives it a wider sound. You can hear it just, if you were in headphones, you could just hear the sound expanding when you do the stereo spread. So that's it with the reverb. we can go into... okay, here's the trick that I found. When you hit send notes to source, watch what happens. The synth itself, the subsynth, will show you what notes are playing. So if we go to the subsynth, watch.
Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael.
Even though it only shows 1 octave at a time, you can see the notes being played on here. So if you ever want to know what the arpeggiator is actually playing, this will kind of tell you in a way. It's kind of hard just because this thing goes up 3 octaves, because we put the thing up to 3. We put this up to 3, so it's got a big span of it, but it shows you what notes it's playing. So that was a kind of a cool thing that I found out with this. So we can go back to the oscilloscope. So you'll notice that it's not really doing anything. That's because we need a stronger signal. If we turn this up, it's going to mess with our volume, and we don't want that. So a trick is, if you turn this all the way up, you'll notice it'll go up a little bit more, but not to where we want it. You got to keep getting a higher and higher, stronger signal. It's probably voltage. Don't quote me on it, but everything with the modular seems to be voltage. So it's probably just bringing the voltage up on this, so it shows it more. So a trick, if you're not getting a big little spectrum on here on what the sound waves are doing, you can add a mixer. I'm actually going to add 2, and I'll show you why. So if we take this out, bring it into here, into the 1 and the 2, bring both of them up as well as the out on this, watch what happens. What did I just do? Oh, the mod. Watch what happens to the signal. Much stronger. This is like zooming out. This is zooming in.
Welcome to Caustic.
Still not strong enough, and this is why I'm running it through a second mixer. Bring these up, and then this into here. Bring all this way up, and this is going to start clipping. Watch what happens when it clips.
Thank you, Michael.
See that? It's turning red. That means it's going above the thing and it's clipping. So what we can do is just turn it down slightly, and the waveform will still be big, and now it'll be more visually pleasing. Still clipping a little bit.
Thank you, Michael.
Looks way cooler. So the reason that I put... Oh, I think I already explained this. So watch what happens if I mess with the decay. This is just kind of a cool thing to mess with if you want more options over the sound.
Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael.
Make it darker. Dull. Brighter. Just get, this isn't even, I mean, you don't even have to. We could route it straight from this into here. See, you don't even really notice a difference. The difference is you have options. If you want it less bright or you want it kind of more plucky, you could add these two. That's the only reason I did this. So for some automation, what I think is cool is I like this thing. So if you play around with it, let's bring this back into this. Okay. You can get different things.
Thank you, Michael.
See, it seems to emphasize more on the lower notes when this one goes up more high. This is random. Now listen.
Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael.
So if you want to automate this, I like to go to Pattern, hit Record, just click on this. So if we go down to here, hit the mode, now you can choose which one you want. So that's a bar. I think I like this for the first 3 bars, and then at the end give it the one that's, I think, right here. Let's see what that does. Let's hear how that sounds.
Welcome
This
to Caustic.
this should go down.
Thank you, Michael.
So anyways, you can just mess with the automation and put it to the pattern that you like. The last thing that I want to do is I'm going to add a little bit of distortion to this. And then we're going to sidechain this. Put it to saturate.
Thank you, Michael.
Adds a little bit of aggression to it. More harmonics with the saturation on it. Just makes it more defiant. Stands out more. And then also we want to put a compressor on here. And I'm going to sidechain this to right here. So the sidechain right here is 7. I'm going to dial this in, and then I'm going to show you what's going on.
Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael.
This is for the groove of it. All the compressor is it just turns down the volume at a certain threshold. That's really pretty much all you really need to know right now. So what this is doing is it's ducking every single time this side chain is being triggered. And I did this. If we go to the side chain, all it is I did noise. You could side chain this to anything you want, just as long as it's being triggered by something. Triggering means that there's a note in the sequencer, so I just did it on the 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the bar. So every time the 1, 2, 3, and 4 hit, it knows that the sound needs to compress. And when you go down here, I'm going to show you what's going on down here. So you need the sidechain thing going, because this is triggering and it's telling the modular to compress. But you'll notice how the subsynth and the KS synth isn't here. That's because you don't need it. It's because everything's being routed to here, and this is where the actual notes are. I put it in the modular, not in these two. So if we go here and hit that, like, there's nothing going on there. I see a lot. That's a big mistake that a lot of people do. They think they need these, but it's in reality it's not doing anything. You know. So listen. And we can get rid of it and watch. It's the same thing. So you don't need it. That's pretty much it. I really like what it did with the sidechain on here. It gives it that cool little groove characteristic, and it lets the kick and the snare really stand out more, because this thing's being ducked, so the kick isn't being overlapped, or the snare isn't being overlapped by the arpeggiator. And just some final notes. Just, I really suggest that you play around with different chords. You could put down, as many as you want. Watch. You could put as many notes as you want. For instance, you could also say you just want a saw synth. Let's take this down, maybe the mix a little bit into here. And then you can route it through, go to your modular. So instead of like this, go till it says saw synth. Oh yeah, we have to turn it down on the mixer. Let's see here, go to the mixer. Saw synth, turn it down. Now we can listen.
Welcome to Caustic.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Anyways, you could do it with whatever synth that you want. So just experiment, play around, and yeah, so hopefully this was quite a long video, but I don't care, man. Even if I make short videos, nobody even really watches them more than 60 seconds. This was made specifically for the person who's willing to put in the time to actually learn how a process is being done, which is actually quite rare these days. Cue the music.
Welcome